bit and move that out of the way. Oh, I wish I was a bit tidier. If I cleared the whole table, it would be so much better. So here is your template. There we are. Yes, that's our fold line there. So it's just one piece, and you are going to cut 2 pieces of fusible fleece, 3 of outer. 1, 2. Do you know what? I haven't cut 3. 1, 2, 3. No, I want 3 of the outer, and I haven't done that. So that one is my lining. This one is going to pop through my little peephole. But first of all, I do need a little bit more of that blue fabric. Which was it? This one? Yes, it was this one. Let's see if we have got enough room here. And I need to have, of course I need to have one more of these, don't I? So let's just have a look. I have already fused the fleece onto the back here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to lay that along there, and I could have it actually stitch it. No, we'll cut it later. Let's just put, right, so there we go. Let's just take that off there, because I haven't cut my 3rd piece, which this is going to be my lining piece. So as I said, you'll need 2, one for the front and one for the outer. And this will, no, that, yeah, this is a lining piece, but this piece is going to pop out of my little peephole, which is what this is called, a peephole purse. So I'm going to use one of them because we are going to stitch. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pop that onto a bigger piece, right sides together, like so. And first of all, though, I'm going to put my template on there because I need to draw myself that circle. Okay, so let's draw around the inside of this circle here, like so, just so that that piece will be eventually cut out. So before I do any cutting of the edge here, I'm going to stitch on that drawn line, on that circle that I've drawn there. So we'll stitch on the drawn line, and I have reduced my stitch length because I'm stitching a circle or an oval circle-ish. Hello, oh thank you Rena. And we're just going to stitch on that line and go around. So let's just hold that nicely and around there, and we will be cutting out the part in the middle. So just take it nice and slowly around the circle, like so. And when you get to where you began, do a few stitches, 2 or 3 stitches over the start line. Okay, I meant to get some smaller scissors here. So the next thing we need to do is cut away the other piece of fabric. So this lines the front and forms our pocket. So we can just go around this edge before we do anything else, and all around that curve before we do any stitching at all. Now I think I did it in a slightly different way in my instructions, because what you could do is stitch around the edge of the fusible fleece, but in this sample, a little bit like my first one, I'm going to be stitching on the fusible fleece as well. You could give it a go with both ways. If you stitch around the outside of the fusible fleece, you will have a slightly larger pouch, whereas this way it's going to come slightly smaller. It'll be more like my brown one with the owls in. So now I have 2 pieces of fabric right sides together, which are joined by that circle. Let's just move that out of the way. Oh, there's Margaret. Hello, Margaret. It'd be great to open Father Christmas pops up in there. Oh, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it? Now, this is where I could do with a nice sharp small pair of scissors, but I haven't got any to hand. So if you want to save that piece, cut into the edge and cut around there. I'm not bothered, so we do want to cut out the centre without cutting through your fingers. So I am cutting through both layers here. So, and I am going to just cut some little portions out to the edge to about anywhere between 1/8 and a quarter of an inch from that stitch line. And then I tend to put my scissors from underneath. Now, if you do a very small seam allowance, it does make it harder because I will be actually, which I don't often do, clip into this seam allowance here. So just be careful that you hold those fabric together because you don't want to cut through your lining. Otherwise, you'll be starting again. So you can see I haven't quite left a quarter of an inch seam allowance, but I've left more than I usually do. But I am going to clip into this seam allowance because it really does make for a better circle aperture than if you don't. So I'm just being very, very careful not to clip my stitching. And as you'll probably realise, I am then going to turn that single layer of fabric, the layer without interfacing or wadding or fusible fleece, I'm going to turn that through this hole once I've got round here, and then we will be pressing it. Okay, am I nearly there? Am I nearly there? Where have I got? Oh, there we are. We are nearly there. Okay, you could actually, if you wanted to, I'll just do it there to show you, you could cut out little triangles, or if your pinking shears are not too huge, you could use pinking shears around that edge. Right, let's just tip that out of the way, and let's just get the the iron on its way. Just put those fabrics down there, and then we're going to push this loose piece through that hole, like so, all the way through, and then push those edges back. You can sort of run you want them to come all the way back because you want your fabric to meet at the edges, so your two pieces will still align. What I'm going to do for the time being, I'm going to put a pin in there. No doubt I shall prick my finger because that's what I do. There we are. And what I can do, because I use these clover flower head pins, we can iron on those and they're nice and flat. If you used a round head or a glass head pin, you could still iron over them, but they leave a little bump in your fabric because they are three-dimensional. So let's just pull that back. And you see that way, we have got the edge of the fabric, or the edge of the seam, right on the edge of that circle. So unlike my usual, I am pinning that around really well. Now I'm just going to take that to the iron, and just give that a press so that that is nice and flat. Okay. And one thing I have forgotten to do on other ones is I've forgotten to stitch around this edge, which you don't have to, but it helps it to lay really, really nicely. So I am going to just stitch, and again, still with a short stitch length because it will go around your circle so much better. And we want to try and get it the same distance from the edge the whole way round. So I'm going that little bit slower to see if I can get a nice consistent, oh, that wasn't very good. I think that's nearly come off there. I probably should have gone round the other way, but it's okay. It's okay. Oh, it's not bad. It's not bad. sometimes, there we go, I'm going around and I'm coming back to where I started. So let's get that thread out of the way because I don't want to be stitching that into my line of stitching. And then a couple of stitches over the stitches that we've already done. Bad there, that's just come off the edge. I suppose I ought to unpick that little bit, but you know, hey ho, it's going to be on the inside. So I'll take my pins out now, and as my usual belts and braces, what I'm going to do now, I've got another pin there, no, I'm just going to stitch all the way around this edge, just to hold these layers together, okay, because they will be going into a seam allowance, or they will be unnoticed. I just want to hold it together so that it doesn't come apart, and it will then create a little hole. So I'm going very close to the edge. Right, one more. Just as I say, to hold those layers together. And then we'll come up this side here. And the fact that they are all stitched together, they're not going to shift. Okay, or we'll come off that bit, but that's all right. That's okay. So it just, where's my seam ripper? Just keep that. There we are. So that is also going to be unseen there. But there is our, so that is our piece ready done there. So the next thing we are going to do, actually what I should have done is put that. We're going to put our peekaboo piece onto or underneath like that and line up those edges. Okay, so once we've done that, I am going to, I should have actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stitch across there. It would have been a good idea to actually put that backing piece on first of all. That's it. So I've joined that together. Whoops. I joined that together so that that bottom part, and then let's just line those up. I'm just going to do a secondary piece. As I said, I just completely forgot, but I'm just going to do a secondary little amount of stitching just to line this all up. And I can see that my lining piece is not quite the same. It's a little bit taller, so I shall be taking that off. I'm going to trim that off, but I just held those together that little bit better. So we'll go around the top here. There we are. So we've got that, and then we are going to take our other piece and pop that right sides together. And I am going to pop some pins in here because again, we don't want this to move. There we go, pop that through and over here. And we're going to stitch around the edge, but we are going to leave a gap in the bottom here. So if we leave a decent amount, so about 1 inch, and leave that middle part open. So again, let's stitch on this side. No, that's all right. That's done all right. So if we start just here, and we can go do a little bit of reversing there into that corner and up that edge and around this one here. Let's put that in a little bit further, but just make sure all of your edges are aligned, and then we can go around, but it's taking into the seam allowance that basting stitch, that tacking down, so that nothing is going to be shown from the other side. And then down here, down to that bottom edge, and we'll just stitch just a little way along there and reversing at the beginning and the end, just to keep that nice and secure. Then I'm going to trim off that little part there. I'm going to trim a little bit closer on the curves, as we usually do. A little bit, because I'm not going to clip into these curves. And then I'm going to trim that one off as well. And I'm just going to look to make sure that I have caught all the way around, so that's all stitched all the way around there. So having clipped off those corners, we can now turn this to the right side. So I'm going to push my finger in right to that very end and pull the furthest part towards me to come through this little hole first of all. So as I usually do, just keep moving it around. We have got 2 layers of fusible fleece in there, so it's not like it's really flexible, like pulling through like a piece of silk, but it is easy enough. Okay, so that's come through. There's a little peep hole. So I'm just going to get my little brush and I'm going to pop this around the edge of my curved top. Just push that around and around this side as well. Okay, into that first corner, and then there's another little corner down here as well, and then we can do that on the same side into that corner and then push that bottom one. There we go. Okay, so that just needs a little press, because having been pushed through, it is going to crease it up just a little bit, and then we'll need to turn in this bottom edge here. So we can just push that little bit in and the little bit on top and just make that line up nicely. And then we can put a pin or a clip. I'm going to put a clip for ease. Put the clip on there, push that along. Because I didn't do a 1/4 inch seam allowance, it's a smaller amount to pop in there, but we still want it to look nice and neat. That's not playing ball. Let's just see if I can get that, or perhaps because I haven't poked that out enough there. So let's just pull that out. That's it. So there's more of a little point there, and then push that in, because we do want that to be, that's going to be the bottom edge. So we want it to look, oh, I'm going to get the iron onto it so that that comes in nice and smooth. Let's just steam away there. And there we go. As I say, it is the bottom edge, so I do want it to be. I'm just going to press that. I know you can't see what I'm doing, but I am just pressing it there and trying to get me a nice smooth bottom edge to look neat. Okay. I may not have done each edge coming together. What on earth is going on? That's it. Perhaps too much is pushing in there. I'm making a bit of a meal of it, actually, but it should be quite straightforward. But it's, there we go. Nice bit of steam on there just to hold that together. And push that one in, and we've got it nice and straight there now as well. So the first thing I'm going to do is stitch along this edge, and oh, don't want that little bit going in there. And I'll do my usual stitching along the very edge. See, now that bit's gone in just too much. That's come out. I want that to come out a little bit more. It's tucking itself in too much on that top, and I don't want it to go further. I'm just being a bit fussy at the minute, and I should perhaps not be paying too much attention, but I do like it to look just right. So let's see where we go along here. So as I say, I am going close to the edge. Let's just pull that. I'm just using the seam ripper to hold that in place. And all the way along there, into that corner. Whoops, and come off. And up the next edge. So this just holds all those inside edges together. So nice and slowly around the curve. And down the other side. Down to that point at the bottom. And around the... Oh, I want to go down one more, I think. That's it. And like I said before, I think I need a new needle. I meant to put a new needle. There we are. And do you know what? I haven't done this bottom edge very well at all. Now, you don't want that to happen. So I am going to unpick this because I think that is pretty awful. But you get the idea, don't you? So, of course, I did smallish stitches. So the unpicking is not the easiest because I used very small stitches, but that's come undone quite well. So it is one of those things, as I say, I actually can't live with that. So I am opening it up. And the reason being, can you see, I've pushed far too much of that edge there in compared with the other side. So let's just pull that out a little bit more and bring that over. And so this is what I would look for. You know, I don't do things wrong on purpose, but if you were having the same thing happening to you, I would like to think that you would be able to fix it like this. So let's just pull that open. I see the stitching's gone all the way to there. And it's this little bit here. So I'm going to put a pin a little bit further down. And this bit here needs to come out that little bit further to meet the one underneath. So I'm thinking that looks a lot better. So I'm holding it with my finger and I'm starting just away from there. And then with the seam ripper, I don't know whether you can see very well now, I'm just pulling that together. And let's just see under there, yes. I think we're catching that in. No, I think I've gone off of it again. It's just decided it's going to be awful to me. Ugh, and I can't be doing... It's the same thing's happened again. I think what I'll do, I'll carry on and finish it, but I will unpick that again. I don't like that at all. And I'm going to re-steam the bottom there. So with this all being well and done properly, what we then do is fold the top over. So wherever you feel that turning it over properly, and pull that over like so. And then we're going to find the center here, which let's have a look. I think when my other one, yes, it's 4 inches. So let's just pop that there. And I'm going to make myself a little mark at the 2 mark just there. And we can see that pretty well. So now I need to get my, which is always buried. Let's get my punching tool and punch just there. And then we can fold that back over. Just centre that up again. Make the little mark through, which I can see that. And we can pop that in there and centre it over my mark and cut. And then this time I thought I would use a nice grey cam snap. So on here, that will go fine. It would have been nice being silver, to be honest, but I don't have silver. So we want one like that. We want one like that. And we want an outie. So let's have a look to see if we can find an outie, which is there. And we will put the outie on the inside, so the button is there. And we will find our cam snap, my prim pliers rather, which are always hidden as well. And the button goes into the cap, or the cap goes into the button holder. And there is one. And then on this inside one down here, we can just pop that in, like here. Pop that through and put our little innie. So the inside needs the cap. Just seeing if I can feel that in. This must be the worst demonstration I've ever done. I can't believe myself. There we go. So that is in there. Bring that over. At least it snaps together. So there is our little purse. Oh, you can't see that down there. I know it's dreadful down there, but you can't see it, I don't think. Okay, so there's your little purse, all your pennies, all your little gold coins, whatever you would like to pop in there. And like I did with my brown one, I think it'd be really nice to find a fabric that you can have one of the prints, even if it was a large flower, in that opening, just to make it a little bit more of a spectacle once you open it up. But you could keep whatever you like in there. And as I say, there is my red one with holly leaves on the inside. Okay, will there be a template available? There will be templates available in the pack that I shall be giving to those who have bought anything this week of value of £15 or more. So here we are. Yes, so let me just have a look to see what I see here. Have I turned it the wrong way up? No. Oh, for goodness sake. For goodness sake, turn that round. That's it. And the comments have gone. Oops, there it is. Let me see if I can find those comments again. I was just thinking, I wonder if it's decided to cut me off yet again. Oh, there we are. Okay. Oh, I see. Some lovely fabric's already been sold. You should have had a code if you've bought before. Obviously, if you're ordering tonight for your first order, there won't have been time to give you free postage. So hopefully you will place all of your order in one go. Okay, a little coin purse, that's right. Okay, we'll have a look. And Carolyn, templates will be available. I will put them on the website as a PDF or a print. No, I'll do them as a printed set. So that I'll do that over the weekend when it's all totally ready. Those of you that have bought anything over the week for £15 or more will get a copy of all of them, all 5 days, for free within your order. Thank you, Shirley, but I think that was the most awful demo that I have done, because I should have put my 1/4 inch foot on like I usually do, and I decided I love my little thin foot, but wasn't playing with me nicely tonight. Okay, thank you, Pauline, and thank you, Judith. Have a lovely weekend and Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Oh, my goodness, yes. Thank you, Sandra. I mean, it has been lovely. I have thoroughly enjoyed. It is a little bit exhausting. Thank you, Sue. Doing every single night, but doing it that little bit earlier at 5 o'clock, apart from the fact when I had the boys, and has made it that little bit easier that I can run over a little bit as well. Not a problem at all. But I have enjoyed it. I have thoroughly enjoyed it. And I will perhaps do something with a slightly different theme, probably not this year, perhaps into next year, because obviously from next Friday, we have the new mystery quilt. It will be free again for Sew with Trisha members. So we've got to get that cracking. Thank you, Susan, for, as I say, next Friday. And for Sew with Trisha members in the group, we will have a brand new bag. Oh, thank you, Jack. We have a brand new bag pattern on Tuesday as well. I don't think so, Tony. I think it's purely a Dukey thing. They do, Brother do a thin zipper foot though. What I was going to do, oh, thank you, Pauline. I'm glad you've all enjoyed. I'll just give you a quick recap of what's on the website for tonight, unless it's gone. So there was the cream with gold stars. There was, oh, I've got these. The cream, I don't know whether there'll be much of that left. The cream with scrolls, which is lovely. And then the cream with the red and green on, all with gold foiling. We then had in the greens, the green snowflake with gold foiling. And we had the stripe that go in the same colours with gold foiling. We then had the ivory with gold stars. Thank you, Margot. We had two reds, the last of the red stuff, the holly and the stripe. Or no, this is not a stripe actually, it's like a bark, but it's a little bit different. And then we had the two midnight blues, the snowstorm, snow and stars, and the stars. And then what worked beautifully with them too is that silver grey with the silver foiling. And then the three blue, soft blues that we had with snowflakes and with scrolls and with stars, all perfectly combined through one lovely colour. Okay, so I'm going to take my leave. I shall sort the bottom of this out first, but that was our project tonight, the little peephole purse, peephole there. And for the rest of the week, we did our glasses case or chocolate carrier. We did our double gift card holder. We did our purse with gusset. And we did our triple fold mini purse with three there. So we've had a good week, haven't we? Lots of little projects which don't take too much fabric and they don't take too long if you do it right first time. So I'm going to wish you a lovely evening. Thank you for joining me tonight, and a fantastic weekend. What I will say, on on Sunday, it is the 31st of August. So I will be doing another live then for Sew with Trisha members for the monthly giveaway. I'd forgotten to put it anywhere, but the 31st of August, Sunday, I will do it at 5 o'clock again, just because we've been in that routine. 5 o'clock Sunday, monthly giveaway for all the lovely members of Sew with Trisha. So take care of yourselves, and I'll see you on Sunday. Bye for now.